Elden Ring was finally released, and we at Revolution Arena know that with this challenging game, a guide will help you to have a much smoother gameplay and live to see the sun rise on Elden Ring. Here are some tips to help you on your journey. About the classes. The first and most important decision you will make at the beginning of Elden Ring is choosing your starting class. However, throughout the game, you can transform your character into whatever you want. The 10 starting classes provide starting boosts to specific stats that benefit specific playstyles. Plus, you'll start with gear and spells that match your playstyle, according to the class you've chosen. I'll talk briefly about each attribute and also the classes, to help you in the decision. However, in my opinion, the game is slightly more relaxed for those who play with Astrologer. Attribute types. Vitality, health/life. Mind, amount of FP, which is mana, used for magic and abilities. Tenacity, stamina, which is used for actions like striking and running. Strength, heavy weapon damage and general damage capacity. Dexterity, light weapon use/advanced. Intelligence, required to cast spells. Faith, required for holy arts/miracles. Arcane, improves item discovery, holy defense and vitality. Classes. Astrologer, kind of classical magician. It has high level of intelligence and mind. Very strong magic attacks. Bandit, has a high level of arcane and dexterity. It comes with a bow. Confessor, high level of faith, mind, strength and dexterity. A good class for those who like to change. Good level of health. Warrior, high level of dexterity, tenacity and mind. Excellent for quick two-handed attacks. Can use healing spell. Hero, high level of strength and vitality. A very tough and powerful class. It has 16 strength points at the start. Miserable, this class is for those who want to start at the hard level. Got 10 points in everything. Only advantage is being able to transform the character into practically anything else. Prisoner, a generalized character in points in almost all attributes, apart from faith and arcane. Dexterity and intelligence are among the highest. Prophet, high level of faith and mind. It has the strength attribute, pretty average. Samurai, high level of dexterity, tenacity and vitality. Much like the warrior class, but this one comes with a bow. Vagabond, high level of vitality, strength and dexterity. He is a tough character, but unlike the hero, he comes with a sword and a halberd. Note, the bow is excellent in this game, so try using it to see if it feels comfortable. Long-range attacks usually help a lot. Gift items at character creation. You will have some items that you can choose from when you are creating your character. I will talk about the most useful. Midland Rune, gives 3000 runes, which allows you to level up. Golden Seed, with this item, you upgrade your Estus Flask, item to recover life, in a matter of quantity. That is, you will win another bottle. A hint is that this seed appears in those illuminated branches that appear on the map. If you choose, just use the Place of Grace, go to Flask, and then to add charge to Flask. An addendum is that, in this menu, you can also distribute how much each bottle has. For example, you have 2 health flasks and 2 mana, you can put 3 health and 1 mana. Or however you want to organize. Fong Demon Ash, with a summoning bell, you summon spirits to aid in combat, more on this later. Stone Sword Key, X2 break seals of demonic statues. You will have one of these logo in the game's tutorial, almost next to the first Place of Grace, Bowfire, that you will find. Breaking the seal on the statue will unlock a new area to the right of the statue. Drop down, walk carefully over the poison, going to the right side, and when you turn right, you'll see a large enemy, which will drop down and ahead. Don't follow him, hide in the pilasters on the sides of the path, and go forward every time he goes down. And watch out, if he hits you, it's certain death. This path will take you to the first tomb with good early game items. Finding Melina is required to start leveling up. After facing the grafted young noble mini-boss, and likely dying, you'll be visited by a mysterious woman named Melina. Like the maidens in From Software's previous games, Melina acts as a place to hone your character. She also provides Torrent, a mount, to travel faster through the Midlands. Once you arrive at the Place of Grace, in front of a large gate, located in ruins opposite the gate. And, don't forget to pick up the first map, in this case Limgrave, just before reaching the Place of Grace, next to a kind of altar fulfilled with engraved letters. And, finding your first 3 places of grace, bonfire species, won't be too difficult, as the game offers weak but noticeable rays of light that direct you in the direction of your next goals. Following this from the start will ensure that you find the 3 free places very quickly and unlock the ability to start improving your character. Increase the recovery power of Estus Flask. It is possible to increase the recovery power of the Estus Flask, using the tiers of Flask. You can find one after picking up the Limgrave map. Most of these items are in the churches, located on the map. Each one, at the foot of a statue, at the back of each church. Look on the map, and at the bottom of the map there is a dark brown part. You must go to the middle of this part, where you will find 3 churches, and in them you will find 3 tiers. There is a warning, however. The tip is good but very dangerous. The enemies on the way, especially on the bridge you'll need to cross, and also the bats before the churches, are strong, very strong. Therefore, you should always run away from them. Use Torrent for that. If you get the tiers, your adventure will be much more, shall we say, smooth, not easy. Basically, your map isn't complete at all, so you'll need to be guided by what you see. The reference point is precisely a large bridge, which you will need to cross, very close to the place I mentioned above. Leaving the bridge and passing through a large gate, follow the road, always going right, and you will find the Church of the Pilgrimage. The second is south of the first church, going ahead, which is Marika's church. The third, the Church of the Baptism of Kalu, is on the road after the gate, just straight, without turning to the right. Beware of viewing complete maps on the internet and spoiling your exploration. To improve your Estus Flask, just use the Place of Grace, go to Flask, and then to increase the amount replenished by flasks. Returning to Place of Grace to spend runes is worth it. Like Souls and Dark Souls, runes act as a general progression currency in Elden Ring, meaning they can be used to level up, buy items, or upgrade weapons and armor. The runes stay at the location of your death if you are defeated, and you only have one chance to return to that location and retrieve them, so they are not lost to you forever if you die again. What I mean is that you should, if you feel that the place ahead is dangerous, spend your runes wisely. Resting in Places of Grace will respawn crafting materials. It won't be long before you find a merchant selling crafting items. Crafting is a vital component of the Elden Ring, and some of the consumable items you can craft can make a big difference in combat and exploration. To craft these items, however, it is necessary to collect materials on the map. Collecting these necessary crafting materials, however, can be easier than you might think, as when you rest in a Place of Grace, most of the nearby materials will respawn. One more thing, the transport or fast travel between the free locations is released from the beginning of the game, so be happy and access as many free locations as you can. Destroy all glowing skulls. As you explore the map, you will likely notice that there are a lot of skulls with glowing eyes on the ground. These are surprisingly valuable to you, as destroying them will give you an item that grants you a small number of runes. You can destroy these skulls by running over them with the torrent, or you can just roll over them. Buy a Kale torch immediately. In Elden Ring, you will enter areas with little or no light very often. Because of this, you'll want to grab a torch as soon as possible. You can buy it right after you leave the tutorial area for Limgrave. Just head straight north from the first Place of Grace found to Ella's church to find Kale, the merchant, who will sell you the torch for 200 runes. In fact, this is where the Pedra de Forja is located, where you will upgrade your weapons. Guard counterattack deals massive damage. There are several common methods of using your enemies' attacks against themselves in Souls-like games, such as parrying them at the right time to gain a critical hit opportunity. But Elden Ring's new guard counter skill is really useful. I remember that, when positioning yourself behind an enemy without him seeing it, and pressing the normal attack button, you will easily deliver a critical hit, backstab, or, if you manage to press the second button, referring to the shield, at the correct time when the enemy attacks you, you will also get a critical attack, parry. Just block an enemy's attack and then hit the heavy attack button. Such a strong attack can often break enemies' stance and stun them for a brief period of time, giving you another chance to land critical hits and potentially finish them off. That, not to mention the large amount of HP it takes. Just remember that heavy attacks take longer to execute, so try to time it right. Spiritual ashes can be very useful. In Elden Ring, you'll discover the spirit ashes, which will summon the spirits of enemies to aid you in battle. Very useful to draw attention away from you in battles, and can be augmented later in the game to make them even more powerful. But know that these summons use PF, mana, and only work in specific areas, where there will be a monument of rebirth. When leaving the area next to this monument, the summon will disappear. Another detail is that you can only summon once in the same battle. And of course, in the lower left corner of the screen, a monument icon will light up when you reach a monument of rebirth area. Stealth is improved at night. Stealth is much more useful at night than during the day. During the day, sneaking in front of an enemy will make them see you from a distance, but that same enemy won't see you until you're a little closer when the sun goes down. This means you can get away with walking closer to an enemy head-on at night. This can help you get through large numbers of enemies that you are not prepared to face. Advantages and disadvantages of combat on horseback. There are even some benefits to staying on your horse, such as faster entry and exit movements and the ability to quickly escape if necessary. But it's important to note that staying in the saddle after a few solid hits can be a bad decision. After taking a certain amount of damage, you will be thrown from your horse and stunned to the ground, and it will take a while to get back to normal. During this time, you will not be able to move, but enemies will be able to attack you freely. Therefore, your chance of dying is great. Study the situation and, if you think you might be at risk, jump out and fight on foot. It's not just killing that the character evolves. In the game world, there are consumable items that give you runes. You can level up if you kill a lot of enemies. They are everywhere, but the best place to find these items is in cemeteries. All over the map, you'll find rows of graves. But be careful, enemies may appear, so be careful. A tip is to look for these points on the map, where small gray boxes appear along the rows of graves. Map markers are vital. Elden Ring is a gigantic game. So paying attention to the map will be extremely useful. You will need to place your own markers to mark areas of importance on the map. Fortunately, there are a wide variety of different markers available that you can place at points of interest, helping you remember where to find an item, a well-hidden entrance, or a pack of dangerous enemies you're not ready to take on just yet. Use them often and you can spend more time exploring new areas and less time trying to remember where things were later on. And don't forget to mark the places you've already visited. You can heal and revive your horse. There are several ways to care for your trusty horse. Torrent has its own health bar. Feed it raisins, which can be crafted using a variety of row of fruits that you can collect along your journey. But, if Torrent dies, it will be automatically revived any time you use a place of grace, or you can revive it using one of your Crimson Tears flask. Explore the caves as fast as possible. There are several caves on the map where you will find miners working. These areas are the best for finding smithing stones, used to upgrade weapons. The way you can find the caves is by looking on the map, little black holes. Once inside, look for shiny things on the walls, near enemies called miners. I recommend not killing them as they are strong. Just get close, hit the collect/catch button, relative to your console, and run away. Definitely don't mess with them now. However, when you are stronger and manage to defeat them, they will drop more stones. And of course, there's a cave like that, which is the first dungeon you have access to, next to the Church of Ella, in the swamp, where the dragon has. Don't try to face the dragon. Just find the entrance, which is at the height of the swamp, in an opening in the rock. Take the opportunity to use local Degraka. After all, you will want to come back more often. Take your stones and go. Return to complete the dungeon only when you are stronger. With these stones, upgrading the weapons you have will help a lot at the beginning of the game. And then too, if all else fails, magic is sometimes easier. It's true that a lot of people will start a Souls-style game through Elden Ring and, because of that, they may experience difficulties, as the game is really challenging. So you can think about attacking from a distance, which will help you in the beginning and maybe even in the middle of the game. Having the option to keep your enemies at bay while blasting them with sorcery/spells, incantations/miracles, or even using bow and arrows can help you overcome areas where you may struggle. Be patient and watch your enemy. Any game in the Souls series, and Elden Ring is no different, requires you to always be careful, watch your enemies' movements, especially bosses, and create different strategies for each danger. Don't be in a hurry to meet the enemies or don't despair to hit as many times as possible. Deal enough hits to give yourself time to dodge the enemy's next attack. It's not the quantity, but the quality of the blow and your patience, in addition to observing the enemy's movements, that will give you victory. Points distribution. When you start to evolve your character, keep in mind that, for any class you choose, you will need to focus, at least initially, on vitality and tenacity, to have HP and to be able to land blows and dodge. After all, if you take damage, you lose HP, and if you take any action in combat, spend energy/stamina. In addition to the required attribute for the type of game you want to take. For example, if you choose to play using a classic mage, based more on magic, you will need to feed the intelligence and mind attributes, or even if you are going to use a character based on physical strength, you will need to feed the strength attribute. Count on help. In the game, there are both NPCs that can be summoned, and friends, who will leave summon signs for you to find, or where to combine with them. Cooperative mode is essential for you to have a smoother game. Not that you can't do it alone, but a help is always good. The item that will allow you to ask for help from friends is the Spirit Bell. To get it, just go back to Ella Church, after receiving Torrente. You will find the witch Rena. Just talk to her and you will receive the Spirit Bell. Explore as much as possible. You really need to explore the gigantic world of Elden Rings. Don't be in a hurry to face the bosses. As you explore, you'll find various items, upgrades to weapons and armor, equipment, spirit ashes, and less dangerous boss battles that can earn you runes and items in order to improve your character. Still about exploring, keep an eye on a small brown pedestal on the map, in areas where you haven't explored. Place a point of interest there, get there and look at the stone obelisk nearby. You'll find at its base, a map fragment, which is very important to unlock the entire view of that area and identify interesting points. Learn from their deaths and prepare. You will die a few times, but that doesn't mean you're bad at the game. It's a chance to better prepare your character and, above all, not to repeat the same mistakes. If attacking from a distance didn't work, stay close to the enemy, circle, attack behind him, from the sides. There are many strategies, and endless possibilities you can create and show the world what a powerful Souls player you are. See you in the Midlands. Tips listed by editor Daniel FXDS and published on the Revolution Arena website. For more tips on Elden Ring or many other games, visit our website. The link is in the description. Don't forget to follow our channel and press the bell to follow our next videos.